Hey everybody, Tony Johnson here, Customer Experience Leader. Welcome to Live at 5:30. Talking today again about tips and tricks and all those things you need to do to drive the most amazing experiences for your work environment because, again, this is those untested waters where everyone's experimenting with this work from home piece. If this is your first video, there are 7 more on the site. Please take a second to go back and look at them each. And every one of them has the most tremendous tips and tricks. There's 3 in every one, and sometimes even throw in a bonus because that's what I do because I'm here for you. So I actually read an interesting stat today. One of our earlier videos, I actually talked about multitasking and sort of that myth of multitasking and, really how you can only do one thing at a time. And here is an interesting one, and this is from the Harvard Business Review. So like a bunch of super smart guys and folks there, these people really know what's what, and their data is fantastic. Multitasking can reduce your productivity by 40%, can also lower your IQ by 10 points. And so, really this idea of multitasking again is, you can only do one thing at a time. You can only focus your whole brain on one thing at a time. And anytime you have multiple windows open, and we all do it, right? Every one of you right now is probably doing something while you're watching this Facebook Live. And as you're doing these things, you're probably jumping from task to task to task. And while that feels good because our brains love to jump around, it takes you a hot second every time you go into a task to sort of reload where you were, to kind of get back to center and get started again. And that costs you time every single time you touch that stuff. So remember that old Ohio acronym, only handle it once? It actually works on this too. So 3 tips for today. The first one I sort of teased out yesterday. It was about the crock pot was actually what I mentioned. So when we think about crock pots, I know that, culinarily speaking, they may or may not be in or out of vogue at any given time, but the magic of the crock pot is that you can put it in there and sort of set it and forget it. So, in midday or whatever, if you, take your lunch, eat your lunch quick, and then go into your kitchen, you can take a half an hour or 20 minutes or whatever and actually prep up whatever it is. Could be a roasted chicken, could be a pork shoulder, could be a brisket, could be chili. And get all the ingredients in that crock pot and let it simmer away. And then by the time you're done working, I would recommend you work till 5:25. Check out, Live at 5:30 with me. Spend a little time together, a little quality time decompressing there, and then go and enjoy an amazing meal that you cooked when literally all you had to do was put all the ingredients in, go back 5 hours later and be like, oh my gosh, this is delicious. You will be a rock star and a hero in your own house. What a great thing to be. You can also utilize a sous vide. I use a Joule sous vide, and it's really where you get sort of that immersion thing that goes into a pot of water. It circulates the water, and it's, it's an immersion circulator is what that's called. But it can also cook the most amazing food too. You can cook, the most tender ribs or chicken breast, anything like that. You let it simmer and percolate in the perfectly temped water. And the next thing you know, a few hours later, you go back, pull it out, sear it in a pan. Delicious. Again, culinary hero, at least in your own mind. It'll be delicious, I promise. And if you need recipes, send me a direct message. I'll send you some amazing sous vide recipes. Number 2, today's second tip, gratitude. So I was watching Governor Cuomo again on the news. He is great. I actually wrote a new article on leadership in these trying times. It's on my website, igniteyourservice.com/blog. He was one of the folks, along with the Kentucky governor, who has just done a great job of this empathetic and really well-timed gratitude type service. And when I think about gratitude, there's no wrong way to do it. You probably have folks you're working with that are just killing it out there. They're probably doing a great job. If you're a leader and you've got teams that are working remotely and they're doing a great job, take the time to call them out for that. Send them a note, send them an email. If your organization has a big sort of recognition platform electronically, put that to good use. Really take the time to show them that you care. I will tell you, here's a tip on gratitude though. Absolutely take the time to be specific and timely with it. Folks who say, hey, thanks for all you're doing, put that back in your pocket. It has zero, and I do mean that, zero impact. So thank folks for something specific. Hey, thank you so much for those timely updates every day on what you're working on. That's a great example. Hey, thank you so much for finishing that project a day early, and the work was exceptionally well put together and very accurate. Again, there's another great piece of feedback. So give the gratitude timely, specific, and heartfelt. Those are great pieces to give great feedback. And then my third thing for the day is around list making. So, I think when you make lists, we are all guilty of sitting around and stewing and percolating on things as it hits us. Maybe before you go to bed, you're just up and your mind's running wild, those kind of things. Take a moment to put those things on a list. And think about the next day as you're listing all those things out, through the course of the evening or whatever. Because once you list them, you can sort of forget about them and let them be there for you the next day. But when we think about lists, really work in threes. You should really tomorrow really only be focusing on 3 key things. There's only really 3 priorities for any given day. If you have 150 priorities, you need to think about how you prioritize things. So just know, top 3 things is what you should be working on. You can have a number of supporting tasks, but if you've got more than 3 super duper important things, A, you probably need some help, and B, you need to think about how you think about priorities. Think about, too, keeping that notebook handy. Like I talked about, if you find yourself laying in bed and you can't fall asleep because your mind is just racing, if you find yourself not being able to focus on time with your family, try pulling out the notebook, making a note about what you want to talk about or what you want to look at the next day, what you want to do, and then you'll find that it is, again, kind of out of your brain. You can focus on what you're trying to do at that very moment and be present, and it will be there for you tomorrow. That's the good news about work. It will always, for the most part, that project that you just noted, it will be waiting on you tomorrow. I doubt that the project elves are going to break into your house and do your work for you. The other thing is, when you take notes like that, it actually harkens back to one of the first things I mentioned around that multitasking piece. When you actually will, because you might be working on stuff, you might be working on a project, and you'll get a great idea. Well, when you have a great idea, what do we all want to do? We want to drop what we're doing and run to that new idea because it's fun and it's interesting. But better to write it down, put down all the notes, all the clarity, all the stuff that you don't want to forget, because I get it, right? You get that big idea in the shower while you're working on another project. You want to strike while the iron's hot. I get that. But you will find if you just write down all the information, that great idea will be there. Let it percolate a little more in your head. Go back to finishing what you're working on, and then go pick up that idea. You will find your productivity will soar when you think about things in that way. So again, use the crock pot or the sous vide. Make sure you show gratitude. And if you haven't done it yet today, when we're done here today, go send somebody a note telling them how terrific you think they are. And then work in lists and prioritize your top 3 things every single day. So let's do a little bit of word from our sponsor here. Please, if you haven't, sign up for my podcast. Visit me at igniteyourservice.com. And please subscribe to my videos at Customer Service Trainer and Speaker Tony Johnson on YouTube. I'm putting up stuff constantly there. Got some great videos on leadership and how to serve in the post-coronavirus age coming this week, and it's going to be fantastic. Stay tuned for that. And also available on audiobook, available on Audible, available on Kindle and on Amazon. You can get it as an ebook, or you can get a good old-fashioned analog copy mailed to your house. Where to start? These principles here of leadership success, executional success, service success, this is really what it's going to take to drive continued customer experiences, hospitality, and tremendous execution within your organization. So please get your copies today, get connected, and let's stay connected again after these videos are done, because once everybody gets back to work, we'll have to find another way to stay connected. But please sign up for my social platforms. Let's connect so that we can make sure that we don't lose connectivity there. So until next time, I'm Tony Johnson, Customer Experience Leader. Enjoy this time working from home. Have the most amazing productivity. Subscribe to my podcast. Talk to you tomorrow live at 5:30. Thanks, everybody.